Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jacqueline Lopez, and today, just as promised, I am sharing some tier tray decor DIYs. All 5 of these are made very inexpensively and also very easy, and let me tell you, these are high payoff items. They all looked as if I bought them from the store, and you'll be able to recreate this too. But let's just go ahead and get started because this is going to be another lengthy video. So let's get started with our first DIY. For this first one, we are going to be painting this Dollar Tree orb. Right now it is a mustard yellow color. It looks more brown on camera, but trust me, it's more yellow in person. All we're going to start doing is giving it a very simple, not perfect, 1 coat of white acrylic paint. I am using a 3/4 flat brush to do this. Again, your 1 coat of paint doesn't need to be perfect, but it does need to be dry before moving on to the next step. As you can see, some color is peeking through, and that's perfectly fine. Now we are going to be using some antiquing wax, and I'm going to take my 1/2 inch flat brush to just brush this on. I am just applying a normal coat of the antiquing wax, and then you do want to buff it out with a rag. That way you remove all of the excess, and it kind of reveals this beautiful color as if it had always been there and it doesn't look painted, because that's the look I'm going for. Again, I'm applying just normal light coats and pressure, and it's not sticking as well as I want it to. I want my grooves and all of these curves on the design to be more pronounced. So as I'm showing you here, it's very light when you apply normal pressure because you're taking a lot of the wax off. So I'm going to actually put a heavier coat and apply lighter pressure so that, again, it becomes more pronounced, and then it starts to take the look of a real wood piece that had been stained. And that's what I want. I want this to look as if it was carved out of wood. I see these all the time at places like Pier 1 and World Market, and I've always wanted one, but I never wanted to pay the price for it. So I'm going to make my own for just $1 from Dollar Tree. And this is what it looks like. Let it dry really well, go over any areas that need more, and that's it. Now on to our second DIY, and this one is also very easy. All we're going to do is we're going to hot glue some of this reindeer moss onto this cement heart. Now this DIY was inspired by Layla Palmer over on The Lettered Cottage on Instagram, and she also has a blog called Lettered Cottage, of course, and she talked about bringing the outside in, and I was so inspired by that. I love that for spring and summer, so that's what we're doing with this DIY. And you can do this with real moss, and you can use different techniques to make sure that the moss continues to grow on rocks, stones, or planters. She shared that over in her stories, so if you want to watch that, go over on Instagram, make sure that you follow her. And again, she shared that recipe, so I'm sure it'll still be in there in her highlights. But I live in the desert, moss doesn't grow here, so I'm having to just hot glue some from Dollar Tree, and that'll work for now. That's perfectly fine. I love it just as much. Now, again, all you're going to do is just hot glue it on here in whatever manner you would like, whatever seems natural and good to you, because you have 100% control of what this looks like. One thing I will recommend, however, is to glue it on and then push it down with your hand so that it sticks really well and it's not falling off. I ended up with doing just half of it, and I absolutely love it. Now on to our third DIY. All I'm going to do is take this small vase from Hobby Lobby and some floral foam from Dollar Tree. I am going to cut it in half, insert it into the vase, and then any greenery of your choice. I did get this also from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just going to cut the individual stems. Now these stems did have like 2 separate little pieces, so like 2 little bushes. All I'm going to do is cut it in half so that I do end up with both of them, so it'll give me 1 long and 1 short, so that it'll give me different heights once I put them in the vase. I'm going to use a total of 3 stems from this greenery pick, and I'm going to cut all of them in half so that, again, I stay with tall and small ones. Obviously I am going to start with the tall ones in the middle and then work the small ones around the edge. That way I can hide the floral foam that is in there. In the interest of bringing the outside in, I want this to look as natural as possible. So I'm not making this perfect. I'm just inserting these so that it hides the floral foam in the vase and fluffing it out, and that's it. I love the different levels, different heights, everything. If you still can see some of the floral foam, you can tuck in here some of the reindeer moss to hide it, but again, for me it worked just to fluff it out and it looks nice and natural. For our fourth DIY, you are going to need some styrofoam or craft foam spheres, greenery of your choice, and hot glue gun and lots of hot glue. For this one, I'm going to use this succulent pick. It has a lot of little succulent heads and I love that, so I'm going to remove all of them and all I'm going to do is glue them to this styrofoam sphere. I don't know what size it is. It didn't come in the packaging. I just took this one and that's what I'm going with. Now I like to make an indentation first because these little succulent heads do have a bit of a stem, and that's just so that they glue flatter and hide more of the white of the sphere. Of course you can paint it or add a layer of green moss, but I wanted to just do it like this, and I'm gonna follow this pattern of the one next to it and then right below it so that it covers all of the areas. I did figure out that it was easier for me to make the indentation with the heat of the hot glue gun and then just inserting the glue onto the hole that it made and then inserting the little piece of the succulent. I hope that makes sense. And I'm just going to repeat that for the entire styrofoam sphere. As a bonus, you can just do half of the ball and use that to top little mugs or any other small vases, and you can probably do 2 DIYs out of 1. As you can see, I'm running out. Maybe I should have used a smaller sphere, but that's perfectly fine. Here it is, all completed with the exception of the bottom, which I will fill up later. Now for the final DIY, I am going to do a bead tassel garland for my tier trays. Now these are some options of what you can use to make them. I already have a white one and I already have a lace one, so I'm going to go ahead and use some regular brown jute twine. All I'm going to do is thread them through the twine, leaving it attached to the spool. You can paint the beads, you can stain them or dark wax them. I love this natural color, so that's what I'm going to keep them on. And all you need to do again is thread it either with a needle or just like this. If you are having trouble putting them through, you can add some tape to it and that'll help them go through. If you want to just keep it as is, you can spin it in the opposite way that the twine is wrapped in, and make sure that you choose the side that it doesn't have any of the little splinters, and just do all of your beads in through it. Now, once you've done that, make sure that you do make a loop at the top by tying a knot into it. If you stretch out some of it, just trim off all of the little excess. So once your knot is through, make sure that it is long enough to where you can put the bottom of your little loop in through the bead. That gives you a cleaner look, but also make sure that it will have enough movement after you hide it in. So I am going to trim the bottom longer because I am going to attach the tassel that I'm going to make on there. Now I've already showed you how to make the tassels this way in some of my other videos, but I don't want it to be as thick as this one, so I'm only going to wrap it 15 instead of 25 times. And now I was about to cut an extra loop because I'm used to doing tassels this way, but we are just going to remove it and attach it to this piece instead of the piece that I was going to cut. And again, this just makes for a cleaner looking small tassel garland. Instead of having a lot of little random pieces, you'll just be able to tie this, keep this together, and again trim it off to where you'll be able to hide that inside of the bead. So pull it really tight so that it has a really tight knot, and again make sure that you trim it long enough so that you can hide it inside of the bead. Now both to this bead and to the top one where the loop is, you can add a little bit of hot glue. That'll keep it nice and in place, and again it'll just make for a much cleaner look. Before adding any hot glue though, make sure that there is movement and that everything is in its right place. Now I'm going to move on to completing my tassel. This little wraparound piece, make sure that you do leave it long enough so that it becomes a part of the tassel instead of just two pieces sticking out. So I'm going to go ahead and trim those and trim the bottom so that it has a very nice flat bottom. If the bottom of your tassel is looking too spread out or loose, you can take another piece of twine, tie kind of a tight loose knot here at the bottom so that it tries to conform to this new straight shape rather than being kind of all spread out all over the place. You can also do this before trimming, and again, it will also help it so that it's nice and flat. I would leave this on for like a day or two, but I'm fine with the way it looks as is right now. And now I have one of each for my collection. And now here they all are on the exact same tier tray. I absolutely love all of them, and I hope that you love all of them as well. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so that you are notified of all of my upcoming videos. Don't forget to like, comment, and share this video, and leave me any suggestions of other DIYs you want me to share with you, and just have a very good rest of your day. Thank you, and bye-bye.